Donald Trump indicted? Is it a good move? Warren Kinsella says no. Hi, I'm Brian Lilly, political columnist with the Toronto Sun, joined by Warren Kinsella. And anybody that reads you, Warren, knows that you have a mild dislike for Donald Trump. You kind of, aren't fond of him. Some might say you hate him, but you still think indicting the former president of the United States is a dumb idea. Why?
I do. Full disclosure, I worked for Hillary Clinton, and I really, 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 really don't like Donald Trump. Yes, that is true. But I also really think it's a mistake for the Manhattan District Attorney to charge him. We're told the indictment has not been unsealed yet. That won't happen until Tuesday when Trump shows up for his arraignment. More than 30 counts. But, whether they have merit or not, for this to happen for the first time in the history of the United States, a former president being charged like a common criminal, I don't think it's going to end well for the Manhattan DA or for Democrats.
Well, during the 2016 election, you remember the chant that you would hear at Trump rallies: lock her up, lock her up. That would go on again and again. And that's what happens in third world countries, in banana republics, in unstable democracies. New leader gets in, they try and convict the old leader, send them to jail. That's what Vladimir Putin does. That's not what happens in stable democracies. And by doing this, doesn't it, if Trump gets back in, or any Republican replaces Joe Biden, all the talk about Hunter Biden and his laptop and China, they'll go after this criminally, not just a hearing to try and embarrass them. They'll go after criminal charges, won't they?
Absolutely. And, I have many Democratic friends, as I work for them as a volunteer, unpaid volunteer, when I'm in the United States. And this has released the Kraken. This is the Pandora's box. Whatever metaphor you want to use, this is a big, big mistake for that main reason that you just cited, which is when the Republicans retake the White House, and they will, right? That's how American politics works. They are going to repay the favor with extreme prejudice. They're going to indict Bill. They're going to indict Hillary. They're going to indict Joe and Kamala. I even said in my column in a paper this morning, I think they're going to indict the Kennedy brothers. They are going to be looking for payback because of what's happened here. Like all of the contenders for the Republican presidential nomination, including Ron DeSantis, right, who was actually, I thought, had a better shot at getting the nomination. All of them have condemned this and are going after the Manhattan DA. I think this has united the Republican Party like nothing has before.
There's a couple of problems with this prosecution beyond the politics, though, and one is this thing we keep hearing about: novel legal theory. You're prosecuting former president on a theory?
Yeah, a legal theory. That's in every single news story you look at. And so the legal theory, I'm going to see if I can take a stab at explaining this in 20 seconds or less. Basically, they're taking a misdemeanor, which is bookkeeping fraud alleged, and trying to jettison it up to make it into a felony by virtue of it being an election expense that was wrongly made. In this case, hush money paid to a porn star. It's never been done before. And by all means, new law gets created all the time, but you don't experiment with something like this against a media savvy former president in front of an international audience. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I think that creates a huge problem for them, along with who their witnesses are going to be.
The other problem that I've heard is that there's a question about statute of limitations. Is it passed? There were claims that, well, Trump wasn't in New York and we didn't know where he was. I mean, everyone knew where Trump was. The guy makes himself widely known. He's an attention seeker. So there could be problems on that. The DA going to a grand jury, as I've heard time and again, a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich if you put them in front of it. So it looks really bad for Trump now. My worry is this is going to fall apart, and it's really going to bolster his chances. I thought DeSantis, Nikki Haley, these are solid candidates for the Republicans going into the next cycle. I don't think Trump is the right guy. This is going to bolster Trump's chances if and when it falls apart.
Absolutely. You know, I predicted, as you know, that DeSantis was going to win the nomination, and I think he is a serious contender for the presidency. This thing gums up that works. Now, maybe in some Machiavellian scheme, this works for Democrats because the guy they most prefer to face is Donald Trump, but not a Donald Trump who's been turned into a martyr. And that is the problem. If you look at, it's not just on Fox News, Wall Street Journal, all the Republican presidential candidates, everyone this morning is saying Donald Trump is being unfairly singled out here. And whether that's the case or not, I actually don't really care. I don't want to see Donald Trump back in the White House like you. And I think this pushes him closer to getting back in there.
The Murdoch empire, you mentioned Fox News, you mentioned the Wall Street Journal. Those are two parts of the Murdoch empire. Murdoch is not favorable to Trump anymore. He has washed his hands of him. Trump still gets some favorable coverage on Fox, but the New York Post, Wall Street Journal, the other print publications Murdoch has, they don't back him anymore, but they're still coming out and condemning this. It's part of what's going to rally people behind Trump, make him stronger. It's like killing Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not saying Donald Trump's Obi-Wan Kenobi, but you kill him and you make him stronger. This is just a bad political mistake in my view.
Yeah, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, the great American thinker and writer, agrees with you. If you strike at the king, make sure you kill him. And that is the problem here. Like the charges that Trump is facing are quite analogous to the charges that John Edwards, the Democratic presidential aspirant, faced some years ago, again for paying hush money to a mistress. In that case, very similar facts, very similar law. It resulted in the not guilty plea on one charge and a hung jury on all the other charges. Why this Manhattan DA decided to go ahead with this at this time, I just don't get it. And the great footage, maybe we can show it to people, they should see this morning, is reporters asking Joe Biden as he's walking out of the White House what he thinks about this. He just won't bite, right? Because I think he's a smart guy and he realizes this is not going to be the big win for Democrats that a lot expect.
Yeah, I think the Mr. Bragg, is it Bragg or Bag?
Bragg. Yeah.
Yeah. The DA, I think he asked, is this good politically, rather than the two questions that a prosecutor should always ask. Is it in the public interest to move forward with these charges? Is there a reasonable chance of conviction? I think on both of those, there's more questions than answers. So we'll put it to the audience. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. Blast us if you want. Praise us if you want. But make sure you hit share and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.